What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back. What's going on? How's everybody doing? I was supposed to be scheduled to do this um, at 3:45 this afternoon, but I got busy with some things and I ended up getting tired. And I kept taking a nap, getting up, taking a nap. And I don't know, when you take too many naps or you take a long nap, you seem like you get up kind of tired. So I had to really get myself together and wake up so I can feel right when I get ready to go live. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to definitely didn't want to do it yet tomorrow because I have something else I want to do tomorrow as far as podcast episode. And then I'm looking at my 100 episode possibly going live. I think that's Juneteenth is on a Saturday, and maybe give my thoughts about that and some other things related to that, and maybe have some people speak on Juneteenth as well. But that's a maybe for right now. Things might change before then. So anyway, today we're going to talk about be resourceful. All right. Again, with this is the things young black men should know series. And even if I go to another topic on something else, just know that there's going to be a lot more um, different topics in this series. I'm not going to always go in order as far as, just keep doing and doing until I finish the series. I'm just going to, I'll do different podcast shows and episodes, and then I'll come back every now and then to some more things that young black men should know. All right. So with that being said, we're going to talk about be resourceful. But before I do that, and before we get into that, I said that yesterday in the last podcast, which is practice self-reliance. For those who didn't check that one out, go back and check that one out. I think that's let me see where we at. Let me see, 100. It should be podcast episode 97. If I'm not mistaken, but it'll say self-reliance as well. So you can just practice self-reliance. So you can just check that out. All right. And I said that I won't, I'll let you know what the resources part of that is. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you're rocking with the best thoughts of the week. Let's get it.
You are listening to Thoughts of the Week.
All right, all right. Yes, indeed. Hopefully, my avatar picture is showing up here. The last episode, I think it wasn't showing up. That's because I probably had StreamYard on my phone and the laptop at the same time. So I was putting myself as a guest on my own show. So that's probably why I didn't show up. But hopefully this time, this avatar is showing up on your screen for those who are watching the show. All right, for those who are listening, it shouldn't affect you at all one way or the other. All right. Anyway, now let's talk a little bit back to a practicing self-reliance and what I said I was going to kind of break down as far as the definition of that. And a part of that definition I was going to talk about a little bit more, I said in this episode. So to go back real quick before we go to being resourceful, practice self-reliance. Self-reliance is relying on one's own powers and resources and not that of other people. And I broke that down, so I'm not gonna in the last episode, so I'm not gonna go into detail. But what I wanted to talk about is the resources part of that definition. All right. So when we talk about resources, because it'll kind of tie into what I'm going to talk about today. When we talk about the resources part of practicing self-reliance, resources means money, as well as other assets. All right. And then the other assets we're going to talk about today and being resourceful. So the resources, excuse me, I'm thinking two and three things at a time. The resources part again is money and other assets. All right. So you definitely have to consider the money part of that. All right. You definitely have to consider the money part of practicing self-reliance, because again, practicing self-reliance is relying on one's own powers. And I broke that down yesterday. What one's on, you're relying on your own powers. And again, I explained what that was, and resources. So you got to rely on your own powers and your money to be able to rely on the money and other assets that you have. All right. That's the resources part of that. All right. So, with that being said, again, like I said, I stressed the money component of that. And then I'm going to do another episode in regards to that. So, everything that I'm talking about, there is some type of link or tie in to each episode. All right. That's what's the cool part about that. Everything can kind of tie in. So, being resourceful. All right. Let's break that down, because that's going to be part of the other assets that I was talking about in practicing self-reliance. So again, go back to that episode of the podcast where I broke down practicing self-reliance. So being resourceful, what does that mean? Being resourceful is the ability to come up with quick and clever ways, or quick and clever ideas, quick and clever ways to solve problems or deal with difficult challenges. So an easy way to say that is just being resourceful is to come up with quick and clever ideas to solve problems that you might be facing or challenges that you might be facing. All right. However you want to frame that. But that's the basis of being resourceful. Now, when I was talking about practicing self-reliance and the resources part of that definition, I said money and other assets. So other assets, and now we're talking about being resourceful, you have to be able to look around you, right? And be aware of the resources outside of money. So what can that be? All right. That can be reading books. That can be researching on the internet. The internet can be your resource for information to come up with clever ideas or come up with ideas to solve problems. Reading books is a resource. All right. Your family members can be a resource to you. Your friends, your coworkers. If you have a boss, your boss could be a resource. Teachers can be a resource. There's a lot of things. Watching videos can be a resource. This can be a resource too. All right. And all these things can help you to spark different ideas. All right. So whatever you want to do, look around you and see what's available around you to be a resource. You got to use your brain as well to come up with ideas. And sometimes people get stuck with things. And so you got to have these different resources to try to spark some ideas for yourself, to get some ideas. Sometimes, like I said, you can use the internet. It's a very good resource when you want to try to solve a particular problem. Whatever problem it is, you can just look that up on the internet and it'll give you some information. And from there, it might spark you to even come up with some more ideas on top of what you already found through your researching on this resource called the internet. All right. So that's being resourceful, the ability to come up with quick and clever ideas to deal with difficult challenges or to solve problems. All right. I don't know. That's probably the best way to explain it. And I'm not going to sit up here, like I said yesterday, and just drag along trying to come up with stuff just to make an episode go longer. That's not what it's about. It's just coming to you straight and direct and giving you the information that you need. And again, being resourceful is a thing that I think young black men and black men in general, women too, black women as well, young, old, need to be or have being resourceful. You need to have the ability to come up with quick and clever ideas to solve problems. Now, I'm going to give you some things that I do, and it's something you can try yourself to help you come up with ideas. Now, I try to, because I read a lot of books, I found that I'm kind of leaning a lot lately over a few years or so, over several years, to try to come up with different ideas and use my brain power more. So a lot of times I would come up, what I would do is one practice I would try to do, not try, but I would do. And I used to do it a lot more. And in the past, but I started trying to come back to it, is I would look at problems, whatever problems I see. Sometimes it's just as a practice for me. Or I look at different ways of stuff and I would try to come up with at least 20 different options to try to solve a problem. So, for instance, let's see, let's look at it from a security standpoint. I would say, well, what are 20 ways to protect family members at home from any type of violent attack? And I would sit down and I would write out 20 different options that I can think of I write options until I can come up with 20 of them. All right. So that's a practice you guys can always use to start sparking up, coming up with ideas. Same thing with money. I would say, what's 20, and it doesn't have to be 20, but me, I like to push myself and really try to come up with 20 things. You can come up with 10, you can come up with 5, you can come up with 3 things. It's up to you. And sometimes I'll do those as well. I come up with either 3 ideas, 3 options, sometimes 5, sometimes 10, but I end up pushing myself, or when I end up doing a few, more ideas come right after that. So I end up going to 20. So you can do the same thing when it comes to money. If you're kind of you're only dealing with one income, you can say, what are 10 ways I can generate income, or you can generate income, or what are 20 ways you can come up generating income. All right. And here's another thing you can do. Let's say you have a podcast show like myself. You could say, what are 10 different ways you can expand your audience, expand for more people being able to hear your podcast? Or you could say, what are 20 different ways? All right. So one way I could say, well, use Facebook. Another way, say Instagram. Another way, use Twitter. Another way, use Anchor. Another way is, I think I said Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Anchor, and so on and so forth. You sit down there and just think about different ways, different options, different ideas you can come up with to expand your audience. You can do the same thing with money. How can I monetize my podcast episode? What are 5 ways I can monetize my episode? And let's say, or you could do the same thing yourself. What are 5 ways you can monetize your podcast shows or your podcast show? In each episode, what are 5 ways? Then you come up with 5. Then you might find by the time you get to 3, 4, 5, more ideas might start popping up. Just don't stop at 5. If more ideas come up, write those down. All right. So those are some examples of what you can do. And I hope it's giving you some ideas as well in regards to being more resourceful. All right. So with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all for checking out this episode. I hope this episode helps you out and gives you some more ideas, or you could try, try the ones I'm giving you, and then it might spark you to come up with some other ideas as well. All right. And feel free to comment. Let me know what you think. If this has helped you out, if you have some sons, for all you parents out there, and you might be listening to this, and then you might work with your sons or your daughters, because like I said, although I'm saying this is for things black men should know, and they definitely should, some of these things can apply to the girls too and ladies as well. But I'm focusing on the men, but this can kind of spread to the women and girls as well. All right, so feel free to comment. Let me know what you think. If this helped you out, let me know. I appreciate it. If you think it's whack, it's all good. Let me know that too. All right. And be sure to check out my website. Go to norwoodventuresunlimited.com. Norwood, Norwood, Ventures, Ventures, Unlimited, UNLIMITED.com. NorwoodVenturesUnlimited.com. Check out the site. And I appreciate it. And until then, I'll see you on the next episode. And as always, man, you're rocking with the best thoughts of the week. And I'm out. Peace.